If someone is not in the position that you want to be in, do not pay attention. Most people don't have the commitment to start something, let alone the consistency to see it through. And so, why you don't have results is exactly why we are going to address the key contributors and the obstacles that get in the way. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast, you've been following me on social media, I'm going to keep it really, really real with you. Maybe you might stop halfway through this podcast because you might not like what I have to say. But at the end of the day, this is probably why you come here, is to hear it straight. I like to talk real, and I like to be very, very upfront with people, because I think what people miss the most is how they get in their own way and how they stop themselves from success. And the very first thing I want to teach you guys is the negative feedback loop. Now, when you are on any type of journey, even if you are trying to get better with your career path, if you're trying to improve your relationship, you want to lose weight, you want to get stronger in the gym, whatever it is, right? And you start to see the outcome that you want, like as in it's starting to happen, it's starting to come to light. And here's what happens. You're kind of feeling a little prideful. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of pride. You're like, hey, I'm feeling pretty good. We're actually moving the right direction. I'm getting opportunities. All of this comes to light. Then what happens is you go and do something to sabotage that result. So best example is this. How many times have you gone to the gym, or you've heard someone that's gone to the gym and it's just like, oh, I've earned that burger. I've earned that pizza. I've earned it. I've gone to the gym already. I've gone for a run. I can just eat it. And then they validate that poor decision. If you think about it, why did someone do that in the first place? It's because they are trying to equalize what's going on in their brain. Because in their brain, they're like, okay, I've done some good, pat on the back, but now I want to do something kind of shameful to bring me down a little bit. Because we don't actually like to live too high. People don't like to put themselves on a pedestal, even if you think that some people do, they don't. So they go and actually destroy themselves. And if you think about it, how many times have you actually got in your own way when it comes to success and achievement? So you're like, I don't know why I keep doing this. I don't know why I keep getting in the way. Yes, you do. You know that you're getting in the way because you don't probably believe in yourself enough to get to the result. All right. If you want the success, you also have to allow the success. Now, if you don't want it, then you will get in your own way. You'll sabotage it. You'll talk down to yourself, and then your actions will align with what is going on in your mindset. If the conversation is negative in your headspace, don't you think the behavior is then going to follow that, and it's also going to be negative? Now, this is what you have to break free from. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to go out there, you're going to do well, and you're going to kind of pump yourself up and get even higher and put yourself on a pedestal. Don't do that. You don't need to go and give yourself too many prompts, but do you need to celebrate yourself? Yeah. There's a time where you can celebrate yourself and not be arrogant, right? Like not get in your head, not be cocky. Like you don't have to do that, but you can still, at the very least, accept that you have at least done the right things, right? Put the actions in place, taking the right steps, right? Doing all these things. If you do this enough, I'm telling you, you will land really great places. And it's just a sum of all these tiny little results, right? Like tiny little steps. That's where results are actually come out. They come out in the tiny little steps that you are taking every single day to get to where you're wanting to go. And so it's pretty easy to follow everyone out there. Most of the time, if you're following people like me, you're probably following also people like Andrew Huberman. You're following, people like Stacey Sims. You're probably following a lot of people in the health space who are advocating for just holistic approaches, functional type of things, nothing quick, nothing easy, but just sustainable ways to really get to what result, right? Think about it. What's everyone trying to get you to? They're trying to get you to longevity. They're trying to get you to understand that in order for you to live a long, healthy life, you've got to do the sum of small things on a daily to get there. All right? There's no fastest way to anything other than just doing the work. And I get it. The work gets tedious. It gets boring. It gets just redundant. But here's the thing. All of the people that you admire and all of the people that you're inspired by are doing the daily work. They're not being special. They're not being handed anything. They're just putting in the work. And I've done that for most of my life. I'm not going to lie to you. Everything that I've kind of built, I've built it over the course of time. Now that I know what I know today, I could definitely time collapse all of that. Even when I meet new clients, I look at what they've done over the last 5 years and I'm like, let's time collapse all of that you've tried, and let's actually piece it into a method and a timeline where you can get much better results in the next like 6 to 12 months. Because if you allow 6 to 12 months of a true transformation, you will get there. If you allow 30 days to try and fix your shit, you're not going to get anywhere, right? This is why detoxes, they don't last. This is why diets, they suck and they just really don't get you anywhere. Are they going to fix some of your problems? Yes, of course, right? Because anything that you try is probably going to fix your problems. If you just stop getting on your screen every night, you're probably going to fix most of your problems. If you just started waking up when your alarm went off, you would fix a lot of your problems. But people don't want to fix their problems because they think that, it's an impossible task or they have to go and do some extremes to get there. I don't want you to think in extremes. All or nothing is just it's not valuable. If you have an all or nothing mindset, you're either going to go all in or you're going to do nothing. Both of those don't actually equate to success. Let me assure you of that, right? So, and if you think about it, the amount of people that are out there that are encouraging all or nothing approaches, like the worst thing is when someone goes, this diet is the only diet that works. If you don't do carnivore, you're going to die. If you eat apples, you're going to die. Or if you just go and do keto, you're going to live the longest life out of every single person out there. Come on, guys, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid, all right? I want to help you understand that anyone that's trying to do that is probably just trying to sell you on something that is absolute bullshit. Anyone out there, even if they go, you know what, the best method of training is when you do low intensity and you only need to do it 3 times a week, and then you just have to basically eat plants and you are going to live a long, fulfilling life. Again, do you really think that that's sustainable? Do you really think that that's all or nothing? Because I do. And it is not something that you can go and do over the course of time. This is why I want to encourage you to listen to the people who have been in it for a long time, who don't preach and promote, because those are the ones, that's who you should listen to. That's who I know I listen to. If you think about anyone that I'm associated with, a lot of the time, what they are preaching and promoting is just long-lasting, simple daily habits, right? Putting in work, obviously prioritizing rest and recovery, because I don't want you to think like we have to just work harder and harder and harder, because at some point we got to sometimes work smarter and we sometimes need to just pull away so we can regenerate, we can slow down, calibrate ourselves, get back in the game. That's how it has to be. If you do not do this, I'm telling you, you're going to be bouncing around from one thing to the next, and I've seen so many people just bounce. Right? They bounce from one diet to the next diet, to one career to the next career, from one relationship to the next relationship, because they just can't stick to anything. But sticking to something really just means that you become a very consistent person. I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not. It really is one of those things that once you find yourself in a groove, you're like, whoa, why did I not do this sooner? Why did I not try harder sooner? That's where your results are. That's exactly where your results are. If you haven't heard the quote, like the what you're trying to achieve lies in the work that you're avoiding. So think about all the work you're avoiding. Think about all the nights that you're laying at night and you're just screen sucking and you're just staying up late and you just, just this once, and that once turns into twice, and then you eat out once and that once turns into twice, and you've just kind of let yourself go. And eventually you're like, I've just let myself go, right? Isn't that you not taking responsibility? In that line alone, I've let myself go, means that you have not taken responsibility. You do not control yourself. Therefore, you do not control your life. Therefore, you are going to be a victim of your circumstances, versus your circumstances being more of a victim to your internal state, because that's what it should be determined by. If your internal state is strong, you will be strong. If your internal state is weak, you will be weak. So the more that you develop yourself, look at personal development. It is one of the most profound things out there. Work harder on yourself than you do your job, your relationships, or anything else out there. Work harder on yourself. And if anyone out there is telling you to slow down, right, go and look at their life and go, do I want their life? Do I want their speed? If the answer is no, then don't listen to them. It's just that simple. If someone is not in the position that you want to be in, do not pay attention, because your attention is valuable, because your attention is carrying the currency of your time. And every single time you give your attention to someone, you're giving it away for free. And isn't that crazy to think that you will give away your time for an invaluable and honestly regretful moment by what's out there? Because there's just so much noise. Like we're not lacking information. We're not lacking any clowns out there. There's enough of them, trust me. But I can tell you right now that if you start choosing and actually being intentional in your choices, being intentional with who you listen to, being intentional with what you do with yourself, you will master your life, right? You will truly master your life. One of the biggest things that I really talk about is mindset, muscle, mastery. Those are the three things. If you can master building muscle, you're going to live pretty well because you're going to be strong, right? Physically, and then mindset, you got to be strong mentally, and you're going to live pretty well there as well. If you match them at the same time, it's insane. Because I have seen a lot of fit people that aren't mentally strong. And I've seen mentally strong people that aren't necessarily fit. But I don't see a lot of people that are mentally and physically strong at the same time, and it's aligned. I very rarely see that. So I want to encourage you guys to take something away from this, and I want you to start being more intentional with your time. Because when you're intentional with your time, you're intentional with your life. Just remember, guys, everything you want is on the other side of fear. So make a move, take action, because you're one decision away from a completely different life.